Eventually. Hi, how are we? Hello, everyone. At some point, it was going to flip over. Welcome back to week 2 of, technically week 10 at this point, I think. So
I don't know. Numbers aren't real anymore.
But we're back for the second bracket. I just somehow.
What the fuck?
Whoa,
what is going on?
I lost the computer. How did I lose the computer?
I don't know. You know what? I should be drinking already. Yep. What's going on?
There we go. Okay.
Things that make you go,
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
Hello, welcome to the chaos. We are 30 seconds in. This is going to be fun.
It's like everyone knew. I made that lower third before, I made that 45 minutes ago. So,
Taylor, how are you?
Well, this doesn't have alcohol in it, which was a mistake. This needs this, clearly after the day that today has been, and then with just whatever the hell that was.
Yep.
This is not a real drink, and that's bad. So that we need to fix that. But I'm good, just disassociating from the world around me, just because
the world is on fire.
Because the world is on fire, and it was my day off, and I deserve to dissociate on my day off where I don't have to deal with work.
Mara, how are you?
Yes.
That's fair. It's been a long. The word. How everyone's like, oh, it's unprecedented times. I'm sick of unprecedented times. I really just want to start going back to precedented times and
I cannot wait for last week's night with John Oliver. Let me just say, it's going to be.
I just want to live.
You know how there are those signs that they put up at people's workplaces where it's 0 days since last workplace incident. 0 days since last historic unprecedented event is that somehow always at 0 for us. I don't know what's going on.
The highest it gets is 7.
Yeah, right. 7 whole days, and then we have to reset again.
Hey, your state was invaded by Latvia today, I heard.
Oh, really?
We were?
Huh?
Wow.
What?
Hi,
Adam. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm making up news. No, I'm hanging in there. I'm just glad you guys are staying air conditioned. I've been thinking about Phoenix a lot, and I just get I get worried about you guys boiling alive sometimes. So, are you doing okay?
Yeah. I mean, it was hot today.
It was hot.
That's for sure.
It was hot. Although we were just on the tail end of a thunderstorm at the moment.
So we've got monsoon season stuff going on.
So there is half a chance that our internet will cut out at some point tonight. If that happens,
we'll just see what happens.
We'll figure it out.
It'll be fine.
You guys can vamp for a bit. Marisol, how are you?
I'm kind of like you, Taylor. I'm like that little dog with that little meme, little cartoon dog with a fire around him, and I'm like, everything's fine. I'm good. I mean, it's okay. I mean,
you're the one with the adult drink.
You got the right idea.
Full blown.
Well, this is because the clowns are coming tonight.
It's a full blown wine. Yeah, no, but no. I also am you know what? This is all downhill from here because I survived. I survived Murderer's Row last week in the bracket. That was harrowing for me. And I feel like this week I'm just whatever. I don't even know what's on this week. Listen, who cares?
I've been hearing about last week's episode for a while.
There's a few.
There's 2.
Let me have this. Don't ruin this for me. Don't let me.
No. I'm saying for me, there's 2 specifically that I might have to go cry.
That's fair.
Oh no!
But it's definitely not as a full thing. It's definitely not as harrowing as last week.
Well. Let us begin with the one. Well, you guys all get to torture me to begin with.
Yeah.
With our first one, Looper versus Paranorman.
Mm-hmm.
Mara, I'm going to start with you.
It's always me. So this is interesting, I think. Also, I don't know why. This is especially tough for you, Jacob?
Yeah, because I really love both of these movies.
He's like the president of the Paranorman fan club, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I really, really love that movie too. Um, I mean, again, as we go through this, it's interesting because part of me wants to say, go through it all and watch, depending on what something is up against, how my perspective can lean in harder or lean away harder from a certain movie. Because don't get me wrong, I like Looper, I like it a lot, but compared to Paranorman, I feel like Looper feels overrated, whereas Paranorman feels underrated. Again, I'm not diminishing the quality of Looper at all. I'm just saying, like, I almost, in this case, I'm going for the underdog because I love Paranorman. I do feel like everyone loves Looper. A lot of people love Looper. And I feel like other movies have come out after it that have done it and done it way worse, like Gemini Man. Right? It's always nice when you can make somebody gag. But yeah, I think it's a really unique movie. And I'm gonna, I don't know if, I don't care if anyone else is going to vote for it, but in this specific instance, I really want to vote for the one that I think is actually underappreciated specifically. So I'm gonna actually throw my hand into the Paranorman basket.
Kayla.
Sure. So I hadn't seen Paranorman until you talked me into eventually watching it. And it's cute, but it's not Looper. So we're going with Looper. Paranorman's cute, but Looper is like, I don't know. I still feel like it doesn't get enough love. I feel like the people who do love it very fiercely, but I still feel like it kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit. But I don't know. I just love it. I think it's doing some really interesting things. And maybe they don't all land exactly how they should, but I don't know. I just have a fun time with it. So I'm going to go with Looper.
Marisol?
Yeah. This is kind of close for me. I did watch Paranorman for the first time for this bracket show and rewatched Looper for this bracket show. I think I totally understand what you mean, Mara. I do kind of agree. I feel like you rarely hear anybody even mention the film Paranorman, and Looper, just by virtue of just being a Rian Johnson film, like is usually in the conversation. It's usually one of those movies that people think like, oh, you need to see this if you haven't seen it, but like everybody's seen it. Like, you know, like one of those kind of situations. Like it is talked about, and I still think I'm going to go vote for Looper here in this one, getting past that like populist babble there. I am going to still vote for Looper in this situation because this is one of my favorite Rian Johnson films. Out the gate, out of everything up to the date, out of everything that he's done, I like the unpredictability of it. I like especially in a genre that can be so formulaic like sci-fi. I like when a movie, even if I don't think it is 100% successful, I like that the movie just takes you in different directions that are unpredictable and does try to push outside the constraints of the genre. And so it's reminiscent of some things, but still wholly original. And Looper, I think, has that in spades. I love that prosthetic work. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is one of my favorite actors. And I love that somebody's just still had the gall to just be like, you know, we could totally make him look like Bruce Willis. We could totally do this. We could totally do it. Just push some more, just get some more like eye prosthetics on there. We could do this. Like just more. I love that they just went for that. I think that's fun about it. And I like movies that just take risks and gambles like Looper. And Paranorman is very special. Always going to champion stop motion animation. And I love the message of Paranorman is so sweet. It really, 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 truly is. But I am still going to lean towards Looper because it edges it out a little bit for me.
Adam?
I have a question for you, Jacob.
Oh, crap.
Do you own Driving Miss Daisy on 4K?
It has never been released. I don't. I have never seen Driving Miss Daisy, and I don't.
Okay.
No, and yeah, no, it doesn't. It has got a. It hasn't. Doesn't have a 4K.
Follow up question: what is the most recent 4K you bought? Totally relevant to the show.
I think technically Dune 3. No, hang on.
Dune 3?
Dune 2. No.
right,
No, it
right,
was
Trevor.
no. I got Witness and Warriors.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Warriors? What's Warriors?
The Warriors?
Oh, the war. You said the Warriors.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that one.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you just said Warriors. I was like,
No, I bought that.
Coincidentally,
Yeah.
my daughter just read a book about kittens that was called Warriors, and it was about these kittens who had to stand their ground against some other naughty kittens. It was pretty harrowing.
Sounds like a bloodbath.
Yeah, it was awesome. But back to Looper and Paranorman. Looper is a cool movie and a really great concept. I think, like, when we have all these shows that are inspired by movies, I think the concept of Looper lends itself to a series really well. I think you could run with that idea and do some really cool stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need necessarily a Ryan Johnson sequel, but I think it's a very tight movie in a lot of ways, and I think it's very entertaining. I am a big fan of Paranorman because it's, of all the Leica movies, in a way, it's the most understated, even though it's very stylistic like all of them. But it's got the most personality, the most heart, in my opinion, compared to all of them, even though they all look amazing. And I think Paranorman is one of the best Tim Burton movies that was never made by Tim Burton. You know, like I like the fact, like, this and Frankenweenie came out the same year, right? The feature like Frankenweenie,
2014,
and I mean, just what a great double feature right there. They're both great movies. And yeah, Paranorman, I'm also a little biased, having lived in New England for the better part of like 12 years. I have lived in and around Salem. So all the stuff that they explore in this movie hits close to home in a really great way. So I vote for Paranorman as well, with the acknowledgement that Looper is very cool. I hope Mara's going to be okay.
I thought Mara was, it had more to do with cats knocking the. I thought that was the problem.
That was the problem. The cats were fighting behind the computer and chaos.
Adam, I was really hoping you wouldn't put me in that position.
Nobody has sympathy for you at this moment.
And I think, and you're right in there. It's the best Tim Burton movie that's not made by Tim Burton. And then I remember Nightmare exists, so I was like, oh, hang on, no, Nightmare Before Christmas exists, which is yeah.
That's got Tim Burton's name in the title.
This is really hard for me because I think Paranorman is a perfect kids movie. I think it is a kids movie that is so perfectly made for young children to. I think kids love being scared. I really do. I think kids love having that element of being scared, but in a safe environment. And I think Paranorman is a movie that really does that well, where it is genuinely scary. Like, there are moments in that movie that are genuinely scary and really heartfelt and really sweet, that it's just such a special movie to me. But then there's Looper. And Looper is such a well-made, wholly original, interesting film that is just one that you constantly think about. I love the kid Pierce. What's his name? Pierce Noonan, I think's his name. Him in that movie is genuinely terrifying, and in like that really awesome kind of way. I think it's probably the last great performance we got from Bruce Willis, like where he really truly truly cared and I know obviously there's extenuating circumstances to that, but I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's really good. I think Emily Blunt is awesome in it. I'm having a really tough time.
You doing the thing where you like thought you were gonna talk yourself to an answer and it's not working.
It never works.
I know it never does. Really, like
Think of Jeff Daniels. I don't know if that helps.
I like. There's that part that really wants to. I'm going with my heart. I'm gonna pick Paranorman.
Whoa!
Whoa!
I thought you were gonna lean towards Looper. I did. What you were talking about?
I was.
The kid in you.
Paranorman just means so much to me, and it's just a movie that has this real. I really love Paranorman, and yeah, so I'm leaning Paranorman. Amara, how comfy is that couch? Because I feel like I'm sleeping on it tonight.
I fell asleep so fast on that couch every single night. And I slept inverted, which I do not normally sleep inverted. I normally sleep curled up like some sort of slug.
I'm imagining you like going full Michael Keaton 89 when you say that. I could see that easily with you, Mara.
All right.
It just felt really good to watch somebody else go through it for once.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt you enough. I feel.
Yeah,
we need to hurt him more.
Don't worry, bracket 8 will hurt me. All right, next up.
I hate this one.
The Nice Guys versus the Hunger Games Catching Fire. Well,
is this the part where you remind me that Nice Guys beat Shin Godzilla? Did that happen?
Yeah, it did.
All right. Well, I have words, but I'll wait my turn.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to just because I've already pissed Taylor off enough tonight, so let's just go even further.
And we're only 17 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna get worse, so fuck it. Nice Guys is just like I like Catching Fire. Catching Fire is the strongest of the Hunger Games movies. It's the best of the Hunger Games movies. It's not Nice Guys. Nice Guys is just a lot stronger. It's a lot funnier. It's a lot wittier. And I just have a lot more fun with Nice Guys. And I am going to vote for Nice Guys. This it isn't particularly difficult. Adam.
So, Shin Godzilla. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it came out in 2016. It's a fine film. Japan. Okay, seriously though, Shin Godzilla was awesome, and I'm really glad that you let me put it in this bracket. Thank you, Dad. I really appreciate that. It should have beat the Nice Guys, not because the Nice Guys is bad. Nice Guys is pretty damn solid. I'm gonna try and keep this brief with Hunger Games. I have such a weird relationship with this franchise because I don't hate it at all. I really don't I have no vitriol for Hunger Games, but I have this weird buffer, this weird reverse magnetism. Like when I try and engage with Hunger Games, I've watched all the movies. I'm just I'm bouncing off a wall. I don't know what it is. It's not, I can't put my finger on it. It's not because it's bad storytelling. I think it's interesting storytelling. I think the first two movies are the most interesting for sure. Because was it Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2? Mm-hmm. You kind of lost me with those. I haven't seen the prequel with all the snakes and whatnot, but I will say that with Catching Fire, it is a really strong movie in its own right because it ups the ante from the first Hunger Games. In a really interesting way. I love the idea of bringing back the champs. As someone who grew up with professional wrestling, as a lot of us did, that really honed in on that for me. I really like that idea, Tournament of Champions. And I think Catching Fire also does a really good job of expanding the story into the wider narrative with all the different districts and the upstart of this rebellion and whatnot. And I love the promise at the end of Catching Fire. Even though the Mockingjay movies may not completely land it for me, I think the way they set up Catching Fire is really interesting. And on a different day, I would vote for Nice Guys without thinking, because Nice Guys is a movie I could throw on. I do enjoy it. It's not going anywhere. People really love this movie. Give this a sequel. No, I don't need a sequel to Nice Guys. It's fine as it is. I'll watch it again, but I want to keep this tight. I'm going to vote for Catching Fire as someone who's not a huge Hunger Games person, who also respects where it lands in the series, because narratively it's very interesting. And I'm saying that as someone who isn't hardcore about the source material or anything.
Tell? No, yeah. All right. Marisol.
And it's not just revenge for Shin Godzilla, I promise.
Nice Guys. I remember Nice Guys being that big surprise, and I think, especially as we point back to Ryan Gosling's comedic abilities, I don't think any film makes better example of that. Anything in his filmography makes better example of his prowess as a comedic actor than The Nice Guys. I think he is just in the zone in this movie. And Russell Crowe is just such a great foil for him as this gruff, like, kind of straight man. I do love the two of them together. This is obviously one of the brighter, one of the in the peaks and valleys of Shane Black's career. This is absolutely one of the peaks.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I do love his relationship with why do I always get her name wrong? Angori?
Angori.
Angori. I always want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Angori Rice.
She was in The Mayor of Easttown, right?
She was, yeah. Oh yeah, and she's great in it. But and I always want to praise. I'm really into the fandom, and I love the support that Nice Guys have of Hunger Games. Catching Fire is the one we've all said we do think is the strongest of the series, and it is the one where you feel the stakes and the emotion, and has frankly the best acting, I think, of Jennifer Lawrence out of the whole series. And it is one, like you said, it is when the plot thickens. And I think it is the most interesting on paper, narratively, screenplay-wise. I do think it is the most interesting out of all the Hunger Game movies. And it is my favorite one. And I do think the way that the stakes are raised and the way that this dystopian story hits you the most in the middle chapter, it's almost like it's almost like the Two Towers of that Hunger Games series. It's the one that you are surprised has that much, that is that contained and still has that much emotional wallop compared to the rest of the series. This is a little closer than I thought. Talking it out, though, and realizing which one I think I'm going to rewatch tomorrow, I am going to go with The Hunger Games Catching Fire. I am going to go with that one. But both of these movies are great. Easily, I'm not going to be mad whichever one goes through.
Mara?
This is interesting. I recently rewatched The Nice Guys. I've rewatched it more times than I would have expected to. Not that I don't really, really enjoy it. I think it's really, again, the duo of the two of them together, what great alchemy. I definitely went in knowing very little about the movie other than like period piece, buddy cop-ish dynamic, sort of mystery, like what has happened. I gotta say though, the actual crux of the thing, well, it doesn't really matter. This movie's been out for a while. Like the thing with the car companies and whatever, I actually find very disinteresting as a motivational point for this murder and everything to have happened, just personally. But the rest of the movie is really good and stuff. Insert laughter. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But that being said, I really agree with everything that was already said about the Hunger Games. I don't often find myself incredibly responsive to YA. I have read the books. I read them on deployment, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Maybe. I'll Google it. I don't remember if they existed. I don't remember if they existed or if that was something else. I got paid to read a lot of books on deployment because I refused to read a lot of very popular books. And so people were like, you'd like it if you read it. And so I was like, pay me and I'll read it and I'll tell you if I like it. Many times I did not. I liked these. Twilight was definitely a nah. I mean, again, not knocking the Twilight fandom, but as far as books and writing quality, I was like, I've read better. That being said, I really think that the franchise comes into its own. I think they really evolved the child murder. But also, I actually was convinced that Katniss and Peeta had any form of feelings or emotions, let alone one-sided or not, like unrequited for each other. I'm still not a Hemsworth fan for baby Hemsworth, baby Thor, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, no, I find that even though I probably haven't watched Catching Fire as much as I've gone back and revisited The Nice Guys, I actually find that everything in the movie motivationally gets me more excited and engaged. And I find that, again, it's maybe because it has source material and it's pretty well written source material, especially because it's YA, that it engineers good reasoning and a way, and like it sustains moving the story forward and moving the characters forward and developing them more. And I find that to just work more for me. So I'm also going to vote for The Hunger Games Catching Fire.
Taylor?
All right. Well, pressure's off me. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, this one's really weird because I've definitely watched Catching Fire more times than I've seen The Nice Guys. The Hunger Games is a trilogy, not really, but a trilogy that I'll just like put on and just watch it and have it playing or whatever. Like it's just,
we own so many goddamn copies of those movies.
we have like 6 copies somehow of the
we've
full
got 'em
set. I don't know
we've
how
got
that
them on
happened.
DVD still, but like
We
You
just
probably have
have-
the HD DVD versions of those movies somehow.
We have them on VHS somehow. I don't know. So we have a lot of copies of the movies, but they're like, you know, those weird, you know how like people are like, oh, what's your comfort movie? I'm like the child killing like movies. That's watching the Hunger Games. Those are my comfort movies. So anyway, I watch them a lot and I like them more than most people, just like all the way through. Like I like all of them more than most people do, but Catching Fire, I do agree, is like the pinnacle of them. The Nice Guys is a weird one for me because I love The Nice Guys, but it's more like I love The Nice Guys because I love the performances in The Nice Guys, and the story doesn't really mean anything to me. Kind of like what Mara was saying, I'm very disinterested in actually like the conflict and what the kind of crux of that is. Like that doesn't really register to me when I'm watching it. It's more I want to watch Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe just do their thing because they're hilarious together and they have great chemistry on screen. And that's just kind of like if people were like, hey, so can you tell me the details of like what the actual plot is outside of that? I'd be like, no, probably not. I've seen it like 4 times and I couldn't actually tell you what like the villain, like what the antagonist, like I don't even actually really know. Like I don't really pay attention to that when I watch the movie, for better or for worse. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter at this point, but I am going to vote for Catching Fire.
All right. Well, with that, Catching Fire does move on, and we say goodbye to The Nice Guys.
I am surprised by that one. I thought I was gonna be in the shallow pool for Catching Fire there. Okay.
All right. Next up.
Oh no.
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 Brave
No.
versus Free Solo.
Jacob, no.
When would you like to go?
No. Okay, before I answer that question, has anyone else actually watched the movie since we talked about it last?
I saw
Which one?
Yeah, which
Only
one?
the Brave.
I saw it for the first time. Yeah.
I
Okay.
rewatched it with her.
Okay,
Yeah, we just
so I'm
watched
not
it
going to be
a
the
couple
only
nights ago.
one that's like talking about it. Okay.
No,
Oh, I'm
we've
ready.
both
I'm
both
ready.
seen it now.
Oh,
I've
Yeah.
seen Only
God,
Brave
okay.
twice, Taylor. All right.
Oh God. Okay. I don't know if going first or last would be worse. Okay. I'm just gonna start talking and hope for the best
All
because
right,
we all know how that goes.
Rip the band-aid off.
All right. So both of these movies gave me like such visceral reactions to watching them for very different reasons.
Mhm.
Like, but also for kind of similar reasons. Because whereas Free Solo is obviously a documentary with real footage, Only the Brave is like exploring very real things that are very true and are very much like hit close to home just because it happened 2 hours or so north of where we are right now when it was happening. So that they both have that kind of element of like one being too real because it is actually real, and you're sitting there going, I know Alex Honnold lives, but I'm still convinced I'm going to watch him fall off the face of this cliff at some point. Like, I know he doesn't die, but also I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch him die in this documentary. Whereas Only the Brave, it's the same kind of situation if you go into it knowing the outcome, right? You go in knowing kind of what you're going to see. And even though it's not real footage, it's very real. And I think they both achieve, taking their audience on that journey with them and really taking you to pretty uncomfortable places, actually. And this one's tough because, one of the reasons that we kind of debated whether or not we were going to put Free Solo into this bracket is how do you compare a documentary talking about real people and real things with real footage to, a movie that's not real? Like, how do you weigh those against each other? But I do think it would be a disservice not to have Free Solo in here. So, this is what I get for being like, hey, we should have Free Solo in here. Yeah, this one's tough. I think just because I don't know where to go with this. Free Solo I really appreciate because it is, I think, a documentary that really kind of pushed the boundaries of what the lines are when it comes to making documentaries. It really had to face some dilemmas of like morally how were they willing to approach this? Was it something they were even going to make? Because what happens if suddenly you're putting cameras somewhere that Alex isn't used to having them while he's climbing and something happens, and what's the responsibility, and what how do you even approach a project like this, and then filming something that is so historical and so just breaks the brains of so many people when you watch what's happening. Like, how is this a real thing that's happening? Only the Brave, I think, does such a good job of delicately handling such a tragedy, but still not pulling its punches. I think the cast is fantastic in the film. And I'm still talking myself in circles here. Like, I just don't know where to go with it. God. As much as I love Free Solo, I'm going to go with my perceived underdog here and say Only the Brave, because I feel like not enough people actually talk about it. But I've seen more people like me talking about it on Twitter now, being like, hey, folks, if you liked Twisters, maybe you should go check out Only the Brave. Maybe we should talk about who maybe we should draw the line there, and let's go do that. And I'm like,
slightly different movies.
You know who's involved in both?
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm voting for Only the Brave, but I hate every second of doing this.
Mara.
Okay. I'm going to also, by the way, hold on, I'm going backwards. I was going to an ArcLight screening with a Q&A from Alex at the end. So I knew he was alive, and I was still frightened the entire time. I was like, "This is they're gaslighting us. This guy died."
Right.
Yeah.
Who is
they're
this double?
saying he's
Yeah,
gonna be
who is
here,
this
but
doppelganger? Yeah.
Anywho, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm gonna vote for Free Solo. I think this is one of the most impressive documentaries ever made, partially because of how it was made. I know Taylor got into it a little bit, partially because they had to have climbers as the documentarians. Like, they also had to climb. It wasn't just like, they didn't just like free mount cameras on like the side of El Cap. Like, they had to be up there as climbers climbing also with equipment. And yeah, they have drone footage and stuff. Like, they also used technology, but the safety and the logistics of not just your subject and making sure you don't impact your subject and what they're doing, but just like the insurance. How did you possibly convince, how did you get producers to give you money? And how did you ensure this production to get like every single person there? Like, okay, hey, so you're gonna have to like go climb this thing. Like, even obviously they had lines and whatnot. They weren't, free climbing and stuff, but still though, it's just like the methods by which this got made, the logistics and the planning, the execution. I mean, also the ethics of it. I do think that the fact that it is morally gray, especially when Alex has his injury partially through his journey to finish the free climb, deciding whether or not you're going to continue. Like, if you stay with him, is that pushing him? If you leave, is that detrimental to his own self-motivation? Like, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate for documentarians going forward? Because you can't change the fact that they already made this, and I personally think that they handled it well. And they talked about it a lot in the Q&A, like more of their offline conversations. But those sorts of things, sometimes documentarians go too far, and I think that this is another great thing to contribute to film, just to exist and give people kind of like, hey, this should be your example. But for filmmaking alone, I'm going to go with Free Solo.
I'm just going to jump off the back of that one before I get down to Adam and Marisol. I'm also going to be voting for Free Solo just because, yeah, it's one of the most visceral theater experiences I've ever had, and just being sitting there terrified the entire time, even despite knowing this guy survived.
And you also haven't seen Only the Brave like a heathen.
Yeah, well.
So
Wait.
All right, Marisol.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit. Damn. Did just watch Only the Brave. And I gotta say one thing. Love. Or I'll say two things.
Okay.
I had no context for this story, so coming into it, I didn't know how it ended. And I probably should. I've seen enough movies. I probably should have been able to predict it. But I should have been like, why are they making a movie about this? But yeah. So as illuminating and educational as Only the Brave was, which is one of my favorite aspects of it. My girl, Jennifer Connelly, is that chick. She's that person. I was like, tell him, Jennifer. Like, I was like, get him. Like, the whole movie, she is the most, in a movie where all, like, dudes are standing and facing fire in the face, and they are chopping down trees, and they are controlling literal forest fires, wildfires, and the most firecracker part of this movie, I feel like, is Jennifer Connelly. Like, I just like she's one of the greatest actresses. She's one of my personal favorites, and I would like recommend this movie just for her. Just as usual, she's usually not the leading lady anymore in anything. Nobody's like Jennifer Connelly in this. Like, she's always the girlfriend or the wife, and then she steals the. Just look at Kaczynski, what he did with her in Maverick, and before that, this, like, she will just steal the movie. She is proving why she's like just an S tier actress, and she's phenomenal. And that's my mini little shrine to Jennifer Connelly about Only the Brave, because I love this woman so much. And now
That's how I got her to watch it.
that's why you told me. I was like, Jennifer Connelly's in this, right? You're like, yeah.
Oh,
I was
she's
like,
in
okay, all right, let's watch it. What's it about? I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But then
Pancakes.
I watched it, yes. And I was like, oh my God, this movie. Wow. Like, first of all, I didn't even have an inkling about what hotshots actually do. I didn't really know. I just thought there were just firefighters. Like, everybody's just a firefighter, and you just broadly just fight fires. And this
By
movie,
punching
yeah, you fight them. But this movie was incredible in the sense of learning just being right on the front lines, literally, with these guys, and seeing the clever ways that you can manipulate a wildfire, and really what it takes to really save certain towns, and the men who put themselves on the line to do that while they're juggling. While, a lot of these guys are also just simple guys, like they're also, I like how it didn't shy away from that aspect too. It's like, these guys aren't necessarily the deepest guys in the world, but they're doing the bravest shit imaginable, and they're doing the stuff that nobody else wants to do, and they're just fighting for just recognition for it, just to get qualified, to get certified, to be legitimized in doing what they do, because it's so critical what they do. And Josh Brolin is just such a rock for that, but still Jennifer Connelly though.
Yeah.
And I agree with everything said about Free Solo on top of it too. Like, they could have just shot that movie with just drones. Like, like they could have just done that. And I feel like, oh my God, am I already forgetting it? Didn't they try that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they try that and that was more distracting for him or something like that?
I think they talked about it, and they were like, there's no way. There's no way he won't be distracted by that.
Right. And he was like, I can't with that. So like you were talking about, Mari, like the efforts to like actually commit death-defying stunts just to film this on top of it, and to also try to be invisible so you don't interfere and you don't fuck up the psyche of your subject, also begs the question. That's kind of one of the critical questions about documentary filmmaking in the first place. Like, to what degree do we interfere with like what we're observing? And Free Solo brings up all of that, all of those questions. It is a phenomenal documentary. I remember thinking the only places that it only kind of stumbles is trying to create that like emotional narrative, because he's such a cipher. Like, it's just like, once he's, you have to either be on board with that or not. Once he's just like, once you realize this guy is just like, I am so one track about this, and he's a little emotionally impenetrable, it does create that kind of like, then how do you amp up the emotional stakes in a real life story like this? Fortunately, this emotionally impenetrable guy is choosing to climb, El Capo. He's choosing to do something that just will shake you and scare you on just such a visceral level that almost doesn't even matter. This is like a dead heat for me. This is really tough. These are special movies in two very different regards. Taylor, you brought up the excellent like comparisons, the contrast of how do you compare, this death-defying, a true to life snapshot of some death-defying action, and a fictionalized account, a dramatized account of death-defying action. I mean, whoa. Man, I'm gonna vote for Only the Brave. I'm gonna vote for Only the
Alright.
Brave. I'm gonna vote for
Adam,
Only the Brave.
you have the deciding vote.
Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla. And what's the other one? The other one I bitch about that didn't even make it. Holy Motors.
Yeah.
Yeah. People need to watch that movie. Holy Motors. Anyway, Free Solo. You know what I like about this movie? I'm obsessed with Werner Herzog in general. Like some people tend to be. It's a condition. But his film Grizzly Man, who's seen it? No one? All right, 2000s bracket, here we come. Okay. So you like Free Solo. Grizzly Man is the sad version of that movie with bears. But honestly, Grizzly Man is the reason I bring it up is because when I watched Free Solo, yes, I knew Alexander got out of it, more or less, because I read the news, but it still makes it real. It doesn't matter when you know someone literally lives. When you watch them doing crap like that,
I didn't know he lived though. I was just saying like, oh, right. I didn't know this motherfucker lived. So I
saw him on the red carpet that year. He was strutting. I was like, I knew he was fine.
I'm so under a rock.
No.
Yeah, like I was watching Free Solo not knowing whether he lived or died.
That's fair.
I think the day we saw it was like the Golden Globes, and like him going up and actually accepting it. It was like, oh, okay, so he lives.
We're like, so this will be fine. This will be good.
Well,
like we saw it that night.
And Jimmy Chin, who directed Free Solo, nailed it. Like, I mean, such a cool singular documentary because you have one
of the directors, it's him and his wife, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. But he was the guy I associated the most with directing it because he's on camera a lot, admittedly. Mm-hmm. So, and he's personable. So he did a great job. But this isn't a criticism. I'm saying maybe they could have brought in Werner Herzog to narrate a couple of the climbing scenes. Because can you imagine if Werner Herzog had narrated Free Solo? Holy shit. Holy shit. He didn't even have to direct it. But they could have paid him like $500,000 to narrate it, and he would have done it. And oh my God. Amazing. I'm just fantasizing about, you know what? We need to find a Herzog narrated version of that movie.
Oh my God.
Make it.
Yes.
The internet is a terrifying place. I'm sure we can make that happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can make it happen now.
He is climbing the face of despair.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, no, specifically a real one, not AI fake.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Right.
A real person imitating him at the very least.
Yes.
So I think Free Solo is incredibly illuminating. It taught me a lot about mountain climbing. I have a handful of friends who are really into it. My buddy John, who I talk about a lot in our personal conversation. A buddy of mine I grew up with, he was telling me for years, you got to see Free Solo. You got a Free Solo. This is one of my best friends since third grade. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. And I finally watched it for this bracket show. And I was like, hey, I watched Free Solo. He's like, cool. Thanks for taking my suggestion. Yeah. Fair enough. That dude scaled some rock faces himself. So I respect it. Only the Brave. I knew, here's the thing, Taylor. I knew the story going in. Well, not going in. I knew the story, but I didn't realize it until about halfway through the movie. I'm like, oh shit. It's this. I started hearing the names of the towns and stuff, and then the Granite Mountain hot shots. I was like, oh no. and look, I'm not giving anything away because the movie, in a good way, telegraphs aspects of where it's headed, and that's okay for movies like this that are honoring the lives of people, even if they're dramatized. I think Top Gun Maverick is a lot of fun. Armageddon, I'm not crazy about, but the reason I bring both of them up is because this movie leans into that camaraderie among fellows, admittedly, a little bit of that Broseph-Steen energy. But it works in this movie because I'm not alienated from these guys for being the way they are. It feels relatable. I've met people like this, for better or worse. And the fact that these guys are just trying to hack it at their job, but their job is life or death. And Miles Teller gives a great performance. I brought it up last time, but like when you think about him, like what a trifecta between this Whiplash and Spectacular Now, playing these like beaten down protagonists. But I think this is one of his best underrated performances because it's not talked about as much. He's like Josh Brolin's great. Josh Brolin's going full Brolin in this.
Such a rock.
And when I saw that Jeff Bridges was in it, I was like, oh, he's got to be his dad.
Oh yeah.
He's not his dad, but he may as well be. And Brolin and Connolly, holy crap, the chemistry. And the thing I didn't expect from a movie like this, because you see movies based on true stories and they're really trying to like be respectable and all that stuff and mindful of people. But the thing that makes this movie special is because they give it these layers of detail and intimacy, admittedly. And Eric and Amanda, Josh Brolin and Jennifer's characters are the heart of this movie, through and through. And the arguments they have, holy crap! Like Marriage Story can't even.
Right. No. He calls her or whatever, and she talks about how she just like pissed her pants like one day.
Yeah.
And it's like the most like she literally
most relatable thing.
She talks about it. And it's
those are the things they thought
the most like cute and adorable conversation between a couple you can imagine.
And what's so cool about the movie is you can tell it's a movie that's made with ambition and respect, but no ego about trying to win an Oscar. And that's what's so special about it, in my opinion, because like it's not pretentious, it's not maudlin. It just is earnest and sweet and tragic. And the second time through, I feel it even stronger. So I am voting for Only the Brave. But if Free Solo were narrated by Werner Herzog, it may have gone the other way. I'm just saying.
Oh, all right. Well, with that, we do say goodbye to our only documentary in Free Solo, and Only the Brave moves on.
Looks like someone's gonna have to watch it at some point.
Next up, Logan Lucky versus
This is
Mandy. All right.
I need more wine.
Okay. Marisol, I'm gonna let you start.
Great. Because this shit's gonna be lightning fast. I did not make it to Logan Lucky. I didn't make it to Logan Lucky. I'm sorry, Logan Lucky. I've heard it's really solid. I've heard it's good. You know me, my stubborn ass, especially at this point, I don't think I can vote for something that I haven't seen. And I am a little bit more mixed on Mandy than a lot of people on this panel. But Mandy that's a unique powder keg of a film. I will say that. It's not for nothing. It's just I don't think it doesn't matter. I said I was gonna make this quick. I don't need to talk about it. I'm going to vote for Mandy only on the technicality that I still didn't get to see Logan Lucky. It probably would have been really close if I had to either way. I probably would have seen strengths in both of these films. So I'm going to vote for Mandy.
I'll make this quick as well. I'll just get it over with. Daniel Craig is having the time of his life in this movie. This was like pre him getting Knives Out and like having the time of his life. This was like the first him dipping his foot into the water of being able to do that. Basically,
this is very clearly
James Bond.
It's very clearly the movie he did directly after Spectre and was just like, I am done with acting, and this is like the thing that reignited his love of acting again.
He is having a ball. He is so fun in the movie. Channing Tatum and Adam Driver have awesome chemistry. They're so stupidly funny. Like, they're also having a great time. The heist is ridiculous and just like nonsense, and it's so fun. I just have a blast. with this movie. Like, the accents are so stupid, the heist is stupid, and I literally mean that in the most complimentary way I can possibly say that. Like, it's a grand old time. It's just like Jack Quaid is in the movie.
I love Jack Quaid in this
and
movie.
he's awesome. And his character literally is called Fish Bang. Like, how can you not just have a ball? Like, I love Logan Lucky. It's one of those movies, like, in the little list that I have where it's like, I'll tell everyone who will listen to me to watch it. Like, it's in that little club where I'm like, listen, do yourself a favor, have some fun.
I'm gonna join the making this quick, and then I'll throw it over to Logan Lucky. I love this goddamn movie. I think it's out of the 4 Soderbergh heist movies, this is the best one. I love this one so much. I think, like, I really love Ocean's 11. Don't get me wrong, but I just think this is just fun. And the fun that they're so clearly having, I really dig that. And I also think it's heartfelt. I think, 3 movies used John Denver, and this is the one that uses it the best. Like, in like 6 months, 3 movies decided we're going to use John Denver, and this is the one that just uses it the best. And it's really heartfelt, and it really works great for the scene. And I just think everything about this movie works so well. So yeah, I'm also going to go Logan Lucky. Mara.
I'm also like, I like Mandy. I appreciate it, but I'm also not as keen on it as other people are. Appreciate it though. That being said, I love Logan Lucky. I love this movie. I also think it is the best Soderbergh heist movie. And one of the reasons why, not just because I do enjoy the slightly more lighthearted take on it, because let's be honest, one of the reasons, like, I'm okay with suspension of disbelief. Like, a heist is literally suspension of disbelief. But because it has that tone, I think it's actually easier to get in and invest myself, because it's easier to suspend my disbelief because I'm like, yeah, they know it's ridiculous also. But the chemistry with the cast is fantastic. But I like the fact that every heist movie does that thing where you're like, oh no, it's not going to work. But then they're like, but wait, there's something we didn't show you. And it's because I'm a screenwriter and I'm smart and you're a viewer and you're dumb. But this movie does it in a way that actually doesn't feel insulting. It feels like, oh, we actually did need to not show you this the way we didn't show you, because that's how the heist had to happen. It wasn't just a, gotcha, I'm so smart, I wrote a movie. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like one of those where I'm like, yeah, okay, I couldn't have figured out your mystery because I wasn't in the writer's room. I know that. Like, it just felt like a really fun reveal for you to say, oh, holy shit, they were able to do the thing the way they did the thing. Like, I like the way it was written because it felt intelligent and uninsulting, which to me is very, very important, because I am smart. I'm not saying I figure out every movie's mystery, because I love figuring out killers in movies. I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot, but I at least use pieces of evidence in the movie to make my conclusions. And when things come out of left field in any type of mystery, or like whodunit or how they done it, and it's just, oh, there's literally no extrapolating that could have gotten you there, I fucking hate it, because it's just because someone wanted to say I'm a smarty smart pants. But I really love Logan Lucky. I'm super excited that it's even here. Super excited that it's going to go somewhere else. So yes, Logan Lucky for the win.
I just want to say,
by the way,
I just want to say, it has one of the best Game of Thrones jokes that still continues to age well, and it gets more and more funny every single year.
That's true.
Every single year.
It's been 8 years, and the joke still works.
The joke still works after 8 years, and I hope.
Yeah, don't spoil it, right? I want to see this. I gotta see this shit now.
I hope it works forever.
I don't.
I do, just because it would be pure comedy. Anyway.
I'm sorry, Adam.
Why don't you eat some butts, man? Like,
Damn.
that's me being PG.
You mad?
I'm a little irritated, not
Man.
because I'm not at Logan Lucky. Logan Lucky is a cool movie. Logan Lucky is very cool. It should have gone against like something stupid.
I mean, round one it did. So
yeah,
it is. We are talking about round two now, guys. Like,
Yeah,
actually, no, round
so-
one it didn't go against something stupid. It just beat something I wasn't expecting, which was Django Unchained.
well, and the
Yeah, we
reason,
rallied against Django.
and here's the thing, the reason
So we did. That was.
and here's the thing, like, not to rehash that, but what it came down to from what I recall is Logan Lucky is unassuming and very, very clever, and Django is forward leaning, very blunt, and admittedly entertaining, but not subtle at all. And the thing I love about Logan Lucky is how subversive it is. As a heist movie, it's dealing with characters who seem like they're, frankly, this does feel like Soderbergh doing a Coen Brothers movie, and that's okay with me. I love that vibe. It's
his Raising Arizona.
It's almost like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? In
Yeah, that's the, I
okay.
think that's the better one.
yeah. It's
I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
and it's just got such a fun vibe to it, and you can't beat Adam Driver in anything. He finds his beat in any movie he's in, and he nails it.
That man does not have a weak performance
and
in
like
any film he's ever been.
And we'll talk about Patterson again soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. But like, he is just one of the best actors of our generation, without exaggeration, because he's not trying to be. He's just good. He's just special, and I love that about people like Adam Driver. And he shows up in this movie, and he's endearing and peculiar, as you would expect, but he's so interesting. I love that Daniel Craig's character is someone who is not remotely convenient for the plot, but they find a way to just make him be part of it. I'm like, why are you going out of your way to get someone in prison to help you with a heist? That doesn't seem practical. And I won't, but it doesn't seem practical.
I know that from the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that seems very stupid. It's a great Soderbergh movie that doesn't get talked about much, and I'm glad you included it in this bracket. But I'm going to give lip service to Mandy for obvious reasons. It's going down swinging. It's one of my favorite films of the decade, not just because every time I rewatch it, it grows on me. Johan Johansson's score, like, not to be dramatic, but his score for this movie, like, it gives me chills. It gets me choked up, depending on the time of the day. I think it's beautiful. It's a great piece of music, all of it. And then as far as the Nicolas Cage aspect of it, he's been on a tear for the past 10 years. Nick Cage, ever since he paid off that island, he's been doing like these really awesome, like big swing movies. And I adore Pig.
Color Out of Space.
Yeah, Color Out of Space is quite good. And then recently Long Legs, which another discussion, really cool movie. But like with Mandy, what's so cool about it is there's a lot about it that's really exaggerated. There's all these genre elements. There's a chainsaw duel, for Christ's sake, but it never loses its sense of humanity for me. I find myself engaged throughout it. Every time I watch it, I'm aching. I feel the loss throughout the movie. It doesn't feel like a simple revenge film. It doesn't feel gratifying, any of the revenge or the violence. It feels inevitable. It doesn't feel like absolution. It just happens. And we understand in the context of the movie why his character is going to do what he's doing. But even when he follows through with it, there's no catharsis. That's what I love about it. It's shot amazingly. I love that, like, in the 2010s, we were like, the horror genre was obsessed with A-frames and filming them in stark contrast with beautiful backgrounds. The A-frame imagery in Mandy is top notch, rivaled only by Midsommar, and maybe Osgood Perkins' Gretel and Hansel. I love creepy A-frames in movies. Just side note. But I'm gonna vote for Mandy. It's I'm being long-winded, but forgive me. I really love this movie. And if people haven't listened to the score, well, watch the movie first. But like, trust me, listen to the score again after you watch the movie. The score is a work of art.
All right. Well, with that, we do say goodbye to Mandy, and Logan
Yeah,
Lucky moves on.
Logan Lucky's a good movie. I'm not mad.
All right. Next up, Queen and Slim versus Moonrise Kingdom. Herself looking like she wants to kill someone.
This one's
Well, I'm lurking. I'm lurking.
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, you kick it off.
Yeah, I'll kick this one off. I love both of these movies. You're right. This one's actually a lot tougher than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I've actually only seen both of these movies once. Now that I think about it, I've seen once in a theater. I love both of them. I think they're both incredible, in fantastically made films. I really like Moonrise Kingdom, but I think I have more of an impact with Queen and Slim. I think Queen and Slim is just a movie that hits me a little harder. I think it's a movie that just has such a visceral reaction to it, and just I think fantastic performances by its two leads. So I am going to go Queen and Slim because I need to pick one. So Taylor.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird one. But I'm going to keep it pretty concise. Queen and Slim was one that I didn't really know much about when we went in to see it in the theater, and it knocked me out. Super emotional, super heavy. One that I have only seen once, that time we saw it in a theater, but haven't. So just every once in a while, it'll pop up in my mind, and I'll think about it. It just kind of parts of it stick with me. Moonrise Kingdom is one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies. It has his aesthetic, visual, color palette kind of style, but for some reason, this one really sticks out to me. It's one of those ones where I feel like it just immerses you into the world. Because sometimes I know people find his aesthetics and his color palettes kind of distracting, where they take you out of it a little bit. This one, I feel like it just kind of soothes you into the world. I really love the cast. I think it's fun. I think the pacing of it's great. It's one of those ones that I just watch and I just enjoy it. So I'm gonna go with Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay. Marisol, do you want to go?
Sure.
Now? Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I still haven't. I've seen parts of Moonrise Kingdom, but I haven't completely finished it. I still seen parts of it. I've seen enough parts of it to know that it is one of, I think, it's really where I think Wes Anderson thrives, is such a focused story like that. And I do love the uniqueness of it. I do love Ed Norton in it. And I like him taking a movie where he applies all his idiosyncrasies and these quirks and projects these adult qualities and adult, neuroses, I use that broadly, onto these children. Like these children are his protagonists, but these are also vastly emotionally, these children are Spock, they're Spock children. And I really find that, I find that charming about Moonrise Kingdom. Fun aside, since we watched Patterson finally, and blew my brain hole out to realize that the kids from Moonrise Kingdom cameo in the movie Patterson as these kids talking on a bus, randomly in one scene. Blew my mind. I loved it.
Yeah,
because it took. We found it
We
out
were
so
like,
organically. We were
Those
like,
are the Moonrise Kingdom kids.
no,
On the-
I didn't say no. I was just like, why are those kids familiar? And you were like, I don't know why those kids are so familiar. And we like knew there was something
I was
special
speaking
about
to the
them.
realization, my love.
No, and then
Yes.
the realization happened. But we knew we knew there was something
Yes.
about them when they were talking in Patterson. Whatever. As an aside. But yeah. And I think it fits. This is one of the first films post 2000s where Wes was really getting I do think a little kind of more niche and diorama like, more with his filmmaking. They were becoming really obtuse is not the word, but I still think Moonrise Kingdom has a sadness, a melancholy absolutely into it, a melancholy streak, kind of more actually kind of in line with a lot of his earlier work, especially a lot of his 2000s work like Darjeeling and Life Aquatic. And then Queen and Slim over there. So that's all I derived with not even seeing the movie fully. But then Queen and Slim I've seen now twice. Queen and Slim destroys me every time. It destroys me when it ends every time. I love Melina Matsoukas. She directed a lot of Beyonce videos. She's a music video director. And so that mood, that atmosphere, that style is just so evident. She just brings, as expected, is unsurprisingly, music video directors make strong feature film directors. Like they nail the style, the visual, the cadence of visual, like film language. They always nail that shit. And she is no exception with Queen and Slim. Like I just love the visual mood of this movie. I love how it's a road movie. It's a murder road movie. It's intense. It's on paper, it's a thriller, but the way that she presents the movie and Lena Waithe's screenplay as well just almost lets the film and the character moments just breathe so relaxed for a movie that people are on the run and in danger, and the situation is pretty like hot button and dangerous. You feel this exuberance and this time to really stop and smell the roses, weirdly enough, throughout this whole movie. This movie focuses on appreciating the little moments in life and the little joys of life, which is such a beautiful and special thing. Really, when you juxtapose it against this Bonnie and Clyde situation, this movie directly name drops Bonnie and Clyde. It makes a reference to Bonnie and Clyde. Of course, it's inspired by that. It's that for a new generation, a new world, a new life, a new America. It's a Bonnie and Clyde-esque story. I love the original Bonnie and Clyde, and I also love Queen and Slim. And the two soulful performances at the center. Daniel Kaluuya is just one of the greatest. What this man can do, just non-verbally, just with his eyes alone. The depth, the emotion, the way he can ring out, he can say so much by saying nothing is astounding. And I also love Jodie Turner-Smith in this. I love the two of them paired against each other. I am going to vote for Queen and Slim over Moonrise Kingdom, but I'm going to finally finish Moonrise Kingdom because I think it deserves some credit. But Queen and Slim is just too much to ignore.
Ma?
By the way, something happens. There's a cat on my keyboard, but she's currently liquid and only held together by her own skin, so there's nothing I can do. Yeah. Hold on.
It sounds scary. Okay, I heard
Anyways.
That's why you sent a million Fs into the private chat.
Did I really? No way. Did I really?
No.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have been surprised because her paw is directly on the F key right now. Oh, all right. Oh, she's moving. We've got movement. Okay, she's gone. Anyways. Oh, well, it's fine. Things are happening. We'll figure it out. Talk about two movies that give drastically different feels. Like intense, palpable anxiety feels and kind of it's weird because it's like both, like, I don't want to use the word unemotional, but it's like detached emotional / kind of charming. It's just so funny that characters that are like robotic to a point with how they talk about their feelings make you actually feel feelings. I've said it many, many times. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. Uh, and it's funny, we were talking earlier about Bruce Willis. This is actually one of the things I think of when I think of like Bruce Willis trying.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ones I go back to where I'm like, man, and again, acknowledging the disclosure of his illness.
Yeah.
But I also just love that this is so different, dramatically different, adorable. I think that in this case, so I've only seen Queen and Slim once. I saw it in the theater. Also went in knowing not even really the full log line, but I would just say kind of a broad stroke. Very, very much like a relevant happy gut punch, as in like I was pleased that the movie was made and handled so well, because I think that it was incredibly relatable to people that maybe don't relate at all to that topic, which is one thing I love about media, is that when you can kind of con people with like recognizable names like Daniel Kaluuya, which I didn't know he was English at the time, and the accent worked, chef's kiss. When you can con them into seeing a movie that can help them create empathy where they've previously never tried or just don't care to. I love when you can trap people into learning a lesson about, like social concepts. But it's tough for me because I actually haven't revisited it, just because it was uncomfortable to watch, but I mean, that's the whole point of it. Moonrise Kingdom, I definitely rewatched somewhat frequently, because I think it's just the fact that I kind of like the way that they address feelings. And I know that that's a big criticism for people about how like they talk about their feelings rather than they act and emote their feelings, especially the kids. But I actually really like that, because as a person who comes from like a family in our culture where like feelings are not felt, I really relate to that. And I really like that. And it makes me feel like the comfy, cozy place of belonging, and just kind of the awkwardness by which you can communicate how you care about someone. Or I don't know, I'm not explaining it very well, but I really like that uncomfortable place that a lot of other people don't like about that movie, let alone just the production design, the aesthetic. And again, of course, what I think of when I think of like some of the last very, very good Bruce Willis. So I'm going to throw my hat into the Moonrise Kingdom.
All right. Adam, you have the deciding vote.
Oh, do I? Oh,
yeah.
As you know, we live in Maine, but not Maine, because we're 20 minutes from Maine. But Moonrise Kingdom is set in Maine. Did you know that?
Is it?
Yes. Fun fact. Moonrise Kingdom it's a very, very solid movie. I think I mentioned this when we talked about Grand Budapest Hotel. I took a break from Wes. Honestly, what happens is like Wes is, I appreciate him as a director. I love his aesthetic, generally speaking. But the thing is, like, he's so prolific that like I still gotta see French Dispatch and what is it? Asteroid City. Yeah, so like I like building them up. It's like a series. I like not every series. I don't want to watch every show like as it comes out. Sometimes I want to let it build up. So I went back and I watched. Don't roll your eyes at me. I felt that.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm over here as you were.
Ever since I explained my logic for binging Moon Knight, she hasn't let me live it down. But it's fine. It's fine
Because it was highly illogical.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Separate conversation.
I'm just saying.
So I didn't see Grand Budapest or Moonrise Kingdom for the longest time, and I watched them both in like a week. This was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought they were both really, really good. Honestly, I've seen them since, and I think they're still good. What I like about Moonrise Kingdom is that you had the kids as the protagonists, while of course, like, I almost called. I was like, Edward Furlong was great in this film. no, Norton. I was owning it.
Oh, sure.
Norton's fun, but yeah, I agree with all the Bruce Willis love because 90s Bruce Willis, when he got goofy, was the best. Oh my God. Death Becomes Her, Hudson Hawk to an extent.
That was his origin.
Yes. He's just, he had that whimsy. He had that whimsy to him. Yeah, because what was the show in the 80s with
Moonlighting?
Moonlighting. Yeah. I almost called it Moonstruck. That's
I love that show.
Yeah, that's I've seen like a couple episodes, and that has been enough to endear me to them in that show. Their chemistry is insane. So Bruce has charisma, and that is one of the last great examples in the 2010s of him getting to return to that character acting, which I love about Bruce Willis. And a lot of people forgot because he became the action guy. And I love all the lighthouses. Very, very cool. And as a fan of summer camp, I went to summer camp a lot. All right. I will just disclose that. I don't know if anyone amongst our panel or in the audience is fond of summer camp, but dude, I rocked summer camp. Like let's see, like 5th grade through like 9th grade. I went like before my 9th grade year of high school, and I did a bunch of summer camps. And they were the best. They were the best. You get out of your school system, meet kids from all over the country. It was awesome.
Summer camps didn't exist.
You are so allergic to. You've never even been real camping.
Yeah, no, but
You
like,
are
okay, but not
allergic
only
to,
that,
like-
but like summer camps in Australia didn't exist because it was over Christmas.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
They just send you to the outback to die.
I was gonna say, yeah, we summer camp in the outback. Fuck
No
that.
one summer camps in the outback.
Yeah.
I was definitely a summer camp kid. So
Thank you,
Nope.
Taylor. So like the thing about summer camp is, you remember? Okay, all right. Not to get sidetracked, but Taylor, did you watch Bug Juice?
Bug Juice. I cannot
Okay.
say that I did.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Now I got a few years on you, Taylor, to be fair, but Bug Juice was the real world of summer camp shows on the Disney Channel.
Oh,
It's literally
So,
that.
like,
Yeah.
it was a reality
Okay.
show based in summer
Okay.
camp.
Disney Channel put some
And
cameras
it was very
at
sweet
some
and
kids'
innocent.
summer
though.
camp.
Yeah,
So
they
kids are like,
did a good job with it.
Jeremy kissed Brittany.
They didn't. Even, they were like careful not even to like get into kissing. They were like,
Right,
They were
they
really
would
talking
say
about like who
that,
danced
yeah.
with whom.
Right. No. That's true. Yeah.
But no, I just love summer camp shit. My point is that's why I like Moonrise Kingdom so much. I really, really, really do. Now, Queen and Slim was the only movie I hadn't seen going into this week, and I made a point of watching it. Not only because it was the only movie I hadn't seen. I'll admit it. I am riding that high. I'm a Star Wars guy, so I had a great time with The Acolyte, and Jodie Turner-Smith was one of my favorite parts of that show. So like after that, I was like, man, I haven't seen her in enough stuff. And then I was like, I saw the bracket this week, and you had just watched Queen and Slim on Tubi, and I just missed it. Goddamn. And so I paid the $4. You should be proud. I'm gonna send you the bill. But I rented it, and it was so worth it. Holy shit! This is a fantastic movie. Anyone who hasn't seen Queen and Slim should make the effort to see it within the year, conservatively. I think not to like spoil the surprise too much, but frankly, I think it's one of the strongest films of the decade. And it's not just because I just watched it. It's because of the acting. It's because of the way it encapsulates road movies, crime movies. But also there are so many small moments throughout the entirety of Queen and Slim that are staggering. They're more than I can count or even mention in this segment, because the small moments in Queen and Slim are why it's so special. And Jodie Turner-Smith and Daniel Kaluuya are beyond exceptional. I do think the movie should have at least been considered for Best Picture. The fact that it was completely ignored. Was it 2019?
Yeah.
No, it was
Yes,
2019.
2019. No,
Okay.
Was it 19?
Yeah, it was
No,
right
it was
around
19.
the end of the decade.
It
I
was
know that.
19?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It was
But,
19. Yeah.
It's structured incredibly
We
well.
needed room for Green Book. No.
19's a tough year. 19
No,
is a tough
19 is the year Parasite won. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. 19
Yeah.
yeah.
19's a strong year.
Still.
I am here's the thing. As sad and tough as it was to watch in a lot of ways, I will definitely rewatch Queen and Slim. I will tell you that right now. I think it's a very, very strong film in a lot of ways. I think the fact that is it Melina Medzukas? It's her first like narrative feature after all the Beyonce, like she did the Lemonade stuff. I saw that when I looked her up, and I was like,
fantastic music video.
yeah, like her eye for the camera is insane, and the movie's shot so beautifully. I can't praise Queen and Slim enough. I'm sorry. I think it's exceptional.
You're indeed right, Jacob.
Yeah.
2019 was a strong year. But
so I vote for Queen and
Slim.
Slim.
Still gonna put us in
I vote for Queen and Slim. To be clear.
Still gonna put them in.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
thank you.
Queen and Slim does move on to the next round.
I was not even paying attention to that. Yay!
All right. This is all right. Next up, Shutter Island versus Blind Spotting. I'm just going to start very quickly because I also need to step away for a minute. I like Shutter Island. I think it's a decent enough Scorsese movie, but I also think it's definitely his weakest movie from this decade. I think there are narrative problems with it, and I don't love the final act. But with that, I'm gonna vote for Blind Spotting. Mara, you're up.
I second Shutter Island. I think it's fine, depending on what it's up against. Because I don't remember if I voted for it, whatever it was up against or not. I think there are parts of it that are interesting. I think it's fine, but it's not Blind Spotting. I'm also a huge Daveed Diggs fan, so like winning. But this has almost exactly the same reasoning as Queen and Slim in the sense that it's like a compelling way through entertainment and recognizable names to perhaps con otherwise ignorant people into learning something very important. Especially, I love the fact that like using the venue of music and rapping to convey the point directly to camera, like very, very compelling. So yeah, Blind Spotting. Let's just keep it simple because Shutter Island's it's fine.
Okay, I'm going to keep this very brief. I have not seen Blind Spotting. I apparently like Shutter Island more than most people, which is fine. So even if I had seen Blind Spotting, this would probably still be tough for me just because I do really enjoy Shutter Island. But kind of going with the theme that we've been talking about, I'm not voting for a movie that I have not seen, so Shutter Island it is. Do you want to take back over?
Keep going.
Okay, great. Marisol.
Do a great job.
I also just want Mara's blurb on the next like DVD like reissue or Blu-ray reissue of Shutter Island. It's fine. Mara. But yes, yes, Shutter Island. I kind of agree. I do hear what you're saying, Jacob. Like, Shutter Island is a solid movie. it's just on the lesser end. It's not a home run movie, especially when you rank it in Scorsese. I do think it's so weird to say. I do think Leo DiCaprio was just slightly miscast. I don't really know how to clarify a little past that. So I'm going to move on from that. I kind of feel like if Mark Ruffalo and Leo DiCaprio just switched roles, I think Mark Ruffalo would have like destroyed the lead role in Shutter Island. I don't know. That's kind of just me. But Blind Spotting, I think is pretty seminal. I think Spike Lee would be very proud of this movie. I'm sure he is, and I'm sure he has plenty of thoughts on it. I think it is that kind of very raw, kind of like kind of what you were saying, Mara, alluding to that, like kind of like almost like a feed just right into the subconscious there for the protagonists in the movie, and using that to express something very, very topical and really breach uncomfortable relations about race and class, how those two mix together, how when it comes to systematic racial injustice, how white people who do come from a difficult background and a poor background, just the same as their Black peers, still reconcile with the privilege they still have just by virtue of their race, even though they're still from an impoverished background. I find it very fascinating the way Blind Spotting manages all that, but still juggles all that stuff, but still makes it actually really approachable and not as heavy as you think. There's still a lot of comedy and lightheartedness through a lot of Blind Spotting, and a lot of verve, a lot of rigor, a lot of energy, and the charisma of the two lead performers is just unmatched. And their friendship is very believable, and also believable the uncomfortable ways that, like, hey, we're best friends, but here's some things we just can't be allies on. Here's some things that forever will divide us, and that's the reality. An uncomfortable reality is that people don't want to admit. Blind Spotting is seminal and critical and very important for bringing that stuff up. I am absolutely voting for Blind Spotting.
Oh, by the way, if anyone isn't familiar with Puppy for Hanukkah by Daveed Diggs, please look it up this holiday season.
Puppy for Hanukkah. Well, I will.
Adam?
You know, this side of the bracket, Jacob, we need to talk to Uncle Rando because
it's gonna get worse.
I know, but like
That's right.
Like Queen and Slim beat Last Black Man in San Francisco. Okay.
Yep.
Right. All right. So that's cool. Now, to be fair, Imitation Game versus Moonrise Kingdom is incredibly Caucasian, so that balances.
That is some white on white crime.
I give you credit there. The prospect of Queen and Slim going against Blind Spotting upsets me, because these are two really, really great films. And yeah, I guess I've given up the ghost a little bit. Shutter Island is cool. Look, that sounds so reductive and diminishing. I'm not gonna be like, oh, toss it aside. I really appreciate, as a fan of horror, that Scorsese wanted to do something spooky and something a little creepy. And it's not one of his I revisit very often, I'll admit. But it's an interesting combination of horror and thriller, and to see Scorsese operate in that genre is very, very interesting. So I give it credit for that. What Shutter Island does that frustrates me, and this happens so often in movies that have anything to do with an asylum, I just really get sick of the dumb cliche bullshit in asylum movies. I'll be honest. It doesn't matter if it's Shutter Island or The Cult of Chucky, for Christ's sake. That's an asylum movie. Look it up. All these movies about, like, where you have all the, like, people in straitjackets with the cliche like personality disorders, where they're laughing to themselves in the corner and there's lightning flashing. I get irritated with that stuff, to be honest, because asylums and sanitariums, it's not that they can't be used in horror to great effect. When you just lean into the fact that like this is a place filled with people who are psychologically traumatized, and in an era where people can't even like dissect what their problems are. I'm not criticizing Scorsese for being morally irresponsible. I don't think that at all. It's more a comment on how the way these settings are used in movies. I get bored with the bleached white background and the straight jackets and the giggling and the rocking back and forth, because it misses the point of actual psychological trauma for a lot of people. And I'm not insulted by the movie at all. I just find it superficial, weirdly, for Scorsese. I find it entertaining in a way. Don't get me wrong. I've watched it twice, and it's well directed and well acted, but it's also very, very predictable. And I find it to be a very long version of horror movies I've seen 10 times over that are not acted as well, admittedly, because they're not directed by fucking Scorsese. But it's also got such a ceiling for me. Blind Spotting has no ceiling. I think it's fantastic. I think David Diggs just arrived with this film right on the spot. I gotta say, I had this really weird experience with Raphael Cazal, who plays the other character. A lot of people don't talk about this, but Are You Afraid of the Dark had a reboot like 5 or 6 years ago in the late 2010s, and I watched the first couple episodes, and it's not bad. The reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark is pretty cool. It's look it up, but it's got this framing device of a creepy circus that comes to town, and the ringmaster. I was like, dude, who's this ringmaster? He's so crazy. He's so creepy. What is this dude? It's Raphael from Blind Spotting. He plays the ringmaster in Are You Afraid of the Dark? He's got a top hat. He's completely balls to the wall with this character, and it just shows his range. So I think he's amazing in Blind Spotting, as is David Diggs. That scene where they're at the party and you see everything laid bare between their relationship is so memorable. Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to good actors playing the shittiest cops. Ethan Embry in this movie, and my man Sturgill Simpson in Queen and Slim. I know. Sturgill Simpson, one of my favorite singers out there. I love Sturgill Simpson's music, but he's also just like, I'm going to be an actor, God damn it. I'm showing up in Queen and Slim and Dead Don't Die and
Killers of
the Creator, Killers of the Flower. The dude is insane. But he plays a shithead, and there's not a lot of range in that character, but good for him. Blind Spotting. Thank you for letting me talk.
Oh, good. All right. 2 more for this round. Black Klansman versus Prometheus.
Ooh, shit.
The blacket.
The blacket continues.
I'll just go real quick with this one. I have grown to appreciate Prometheus.
Yeah.
There's a lot about Prometheus that works very well compared to the first time that I saw it. First time I saw it, I was not a fan. The last time I watched it, which was for this bracket, there was a lot more that I appreciated, and I went, oh, okay, there's a lot going on here that I very much like, and that I went, no, this works. It is not Black Klansman. It's Black Klansman. There's a real chance Black Klansman takes this entire fucking bracket. It's one of those movies from this decade. It is so well made. John David Washington is fantastic in this. Adam Driver is fantastic in this. Spike Lee writes the hell out of this script. He directs the hell out of this movie. There's so much about this movie that just works on such a unique and incredibly different level that like everything about it, from like the first phone call with the clan and the spin of the chair after he calls when he calls the clan for the first time, and Adam Driver spins the chair around, is like, what did you just do? Like I like, it's just so well framed and so well acted and so well made. I love this movie so much. So yeah, I'm gonna go Black Klansman.
You're gonna give a shout out to your boy,
Which one?
Corey Hawkins.
Oh yes, Corey. Oh my God, Corey Hawkins
Yes.
Yes.
has
Yes.
a like awesome scene-stealing scene. Like this incredible monologue scene. Yes. Oh my God, I blanked on Corey Hawkins for a second. Then
How
yes,
dare you?
I know.
Yes.
Um,
He is your second betrothed.
he is. So, Adam, I'll go to you next.
I gotta say, so Alien was in theaters a few months ago. Do you remember that? Did any of you guys go see it? We went and saw it at the local auditorium. I gotta tell you,
yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Ugh.
To be fair, it was a digital projection, but it was a solid digital projection. It looked great. It's hard to get film prints of Alien in our area.
Not in our area.
Yeah,
If we were in
no.
Boston, sure.
Oh, hell yes. But you know what's so cool? When you rewatch Alien is like, I do appreciate the things from Prometheus that line up. Some of the visual stuff, the production design, things I'll admit, things I completely missed in Alien, like seeing it all throughout my life. And then Prometheus came out, and then I looked at Alien a little differently. So I want to give Prometheus a lot of credit for that, because it's a weird experiment of a movie that had a lot of studio interference, from what I understand, and yet it did a pretty good job of threading the needle and being a cool sci-fi movie in and of itself, that also doesn't disrupt the beginning of the original Alien movie. But what I find so cool when you go back and watch the original Alien is the scale of the what are they called? The architects or the engineers?
Engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you see that in the original film is so cool, because back then, like, I feel ashamed to admit that I didn't really register that level of detail like the first several times I saw Alien. And Prometheus invited that comparison, and I appreciate that it illuminated me. And it got me to look at Alien from a different angle. So Prometheus is cool, and every time I rewatch it, I find it more interesting. But I agree with you, Jacob, that Black Klansman is excellent. I think as of now, John David Washington is still trying to find his footing in other movies, but I think he's great in this movie. I think they're just trying to find the way to cast him in other stuff, because he's so stoic. I think that's the difference between him and his. Yeah, and the unfair comparisons to
but
Denzel.
It's not unfair. Yeah, he's a different kind of actor.
He's a very different actor, and I love his stoicism, because honestly, I think Daniel Kaluuya has that to an extent, because of it's just his unblinking gaze. I think John David Washington is great in this, because he's also like, he feeds into the humor of the movie. And Adam Driver, as we've already established, is fantastic. He's no exception in this. And then, not for nothing, best takedown of Birth of a Nation I've ever seen on screen. Just the like, anyone who knows anything about that film, it speaks for itself what it is. But for Spike Lee to engage with it the way he does in Black Klansman is so great. And God bless Topher Grace for just being there as an actor and crushing it as David Duke. I think Topher Grace is fantastic. I think he's a very underrated actor overall. I, for one, was very excited back in the day when he was initially cast as Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3. And to be fair to him, I don't think the part was written very considerably to his strengths, but I think he tried to do well. But my point is, I was excited at the time because I think Topher Grace has a lot of talent. In Good Company is an underrated rom-com for anyone who hasn't seen it. He has a speech in that movie. Topher. Okay, all right. I'm not okay. Topher Grace, man.
Save it for the 2000s bracket, baby.
Yeah.
Save it for the 2000s bracket.
In good company.
Yeah.
Black Klansman. Sorry.
Mara.
I love how he's like so sincerely apologizing.
I'm sorry.
I'm not like a Prometheus apologist or anything, but I do appreciate it a lot. Especially God, the music. I love the music in that movie. I love it so much. But man, I love Black Klansman. Talk about a movie that just came out of nowhere. Shout out for real to Colorado Springs, where my adopted family lives, which, I mean, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's kind of nice when you have media that teaches you something real about a place that, you know, you should know something about, because it's like, oh, hey, yeah, like we
You
live
grew up
here.
here.
Well, I mean, I didn't grow up there. Like, family didn't move there until high school age. But still, though, it's like that's not something that's like super famous that people talk about all the time. So, love the fact that media can do that, because that should be something everyone there knows. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a stupid person, but whatever. Anyways, so freaking charming. I love the way that it chooses to tell the story. I just love it. I think it's great. I also love that it gave Spike Lee his first the competitive Oscar.
Yeah.
I was like, the one people vote on, not the one they give you. I was like, there's a word for it. But yeah, no, I'm just, everyone else said so many other better things about both the things. So that's my things speech over.
Marisol?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I really like both of these movies for different reasons. I agree with everything that everybody's been saying already. I think we're all really highlighting the strengths of both these films. Prometheus is such a delicious way to actually genuinely expand on lore from a decades existing franchise and enrich it and actually excite and expand the world, and in a very organic way, not in a contrived or shoehorned or trying desperately to like say this was, or a retconning way, the way that the Fast and Furious franchise does or something like that. Like we're like, yeah, it was totally here all the time. No, it's such organic the way Ridley Scott goes back to his beloved and really expands it, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The technology is a slightly too advanced for having taken place before the original Alien. That's one of the only really inconsistencies with it. But you get this loaded cast in here. It looks gorgeous. Fassbender for the win. Probably the best android in the whole series. Let's just talk about it. But Fassbender is David for the win. I just think Prometheus is fantastic. I only think it unfortunately then starts what then Covenant would do, and I hope Romulus doesn't do, which kind of repeat the beats, like the monster beats, the death beats from the first Alien. Prometheus also kind of does that too, especially with facehugger kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens. But Prometheus is a joy. Black Klansman was Spike Lee returning to form. It was his strongest film since Inside Man in over 10 years. And it was him re-arriving, like showing up and just cementing himself as one of the most culturally relevant, socially relevant, politically relevant filmmakers of his generation, just living today. And he roared back into relevance with Black Klansman. It is not my favorite film of his. I don't think it is his absolute strongest, but I think it is a welcome return to form. And I think it reignited, it lit a flame under his ass And I think it was so topical. The way he ties it into the Charlottesville riot at the end there is what he does best. That is, he is the only filmmaker doing that kind of stuff. He has always been, and he remains. He reminds you why he's that guy. And I agree with everything everybody's saying about this being John David Washington's finding that right groove for him, where his aloofness works in favor of the comedy in this film. Chimes in very beautifully with Adam Driver, perpetual MVP, and I think the narrative kind of deflation that you feel when BlacKkKlansman ends, and you feel the sinking weight of feeling like, well, nothing has been solved. Like this is almost narratively unsatisfying the way this movie ends, because I feel like we're still in the same situation. That's exactly the point that he's trying to make. That's by design, and that is what makes it just stick in your craw and makes me want to keep revisiting this movie, and how he takes a story from the past and reminds you painstakingly how it is more relevant than ever, and how reminds you what things have changed and how some things have just not, and asks you to wake the hell up. I'm definitely now that I talked it out. Hey, I talked it out and came to and actually, like, this is where we're tied. I talked it out and actually picked a movie by talking it out. Yes, I'm gonna vote for BlacKkKlansman because I just talked that out.
Yeah. Taylor.
All right, I'll say one thing about BlacKkKlansman, and then I'll do my duty as the president of the Prometheus fan club for the last however many years. I just want to say we've given a shout out to basically all the main players in BlacKkKlansman who are amazing, rightfully so. Don't want us to forget Laura Harrier, though. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really sad that she hasn't been in more projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Prometheus. I've said this a couple times on this bracket show, and I think the previous one as well. Prometheus was my introduction into the Alien movies. It was the first one I ever saw. So for that alone, like, it has a special place in my heart because it made me dive into the series. But I also just love Prometheus. Like, I have so much fun with it. I do think it has a lot to say. I went on a podcast with Allison and we talked about it for like an hour. Like, we broke down the whole movie, and why we love it and why it's just so fascinating to me. But yeah, I love Prometheus, and I'm always like on the train of being like, no, maybe you should revisit it, and maybe it's great and you just don't know it's great, and maybe we should think that it's great. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it my vote. I love BlacKkKlansman, but I have to give Prometheus my vote. The cast is amazing. Michael Fassbender as David is crazy. Like, we've had in the last like 10-15 years, we've had a couple pretty solid like android kind of performances going on, but this is some next level stuff. And even if, for people who don't necessarily love Covenant, having David back, like, he does there's some crazy shit going on in Covenant with David, which is so fascinating to watch. But yeah, this cast is fun. I just have fun with it. I think I don't know. I just think it's a good time. I definitely don't think it's the worst movie in the Alien movie verse by a mile. And yeah, I'm excited for Romulus. Let's go, Alien.
All right. Well, with that, BlacKkKlansman does move on to the next round. And we have Toy Story 3 versus Green Room. Two very similar movies.
Yeah.
Mara, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to make it simple. I'm going to vote for the Nazis.
Okay.
No, honestly,
Mara, the Nazis didn't win in that movie, though. You know that, right?
I do know that. No, I honestly just wanted to see someone be shocked. No, I was very skeptical about Toy Story 3, as I was about Toy Story 4, as I am about Toy Story 5. Don't get me wrong, I was proven wrong with my skepticism about 3 and 4, but I like Toy Story 3. I like it a lot. I just I don't have the same human feelings that other people do. Oh God, cats, get out of her asshole. Sorry.
That was another movie that didn't make it into this bracket.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, they're rambunctious. They really want food. We might have to go on a field trip after I speak. No, but I mean, Anton Yelchin, Sir Pat Stew. Hello. What is not to love? I love the intensity. It's just, I mean, sorry, comment section. Just chef's kiss all around. For me, just like that sort of, I would rather feel those feelings of like that anxiety and discomfort and that intensity than try to feel human feelings for little drawn toys. Just personal preference. This is sole personal preference. Toy Story 3 is really, really good. And again, I was skeptical about why the hell it existed. Like, why is this happening? But I was proven wrong. It's a really, really good movie. But I once again, I'm going to vote for the Nazi movie.
Tell.
Sure. I'll make this pretty concise. I haven't seen Green Room because I still can't bear to watch anything with Anton Yelchin in it for the most part, because I will have a psychological breakdown. I will watch the movie eventually. I'll get there. Because it has been on my list for a long time. Yeah, before this bracket, it was on my list, and there'll be a day where I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm emotionally stable enough to watch this. But that day has not come yet. Probably won't come for the next 4 or 5 months at this point.
let's just get through November.
Yeah. And I do love Toy Story 3. It made me sob just uncontrollably. And it still makes me cry, even when I just think about it. So we're going to go with Toy Story 3.
Marcel?
Yeah. I finally watched Green Room for this bracket. I had wanted to see it when it first came out years ago, but you know how that goes. Like, I feel like if I don't see a movie when it comes out, yeah, it's just like, well, put it to the bottom of the 3,000 movie queue. I mean, like, it's just like, we'll get to it eventually before I die. But yeah. So Green Room was one of those movies, and I bumped it up and rented it to watch it for. Did I rent it? I don't know. To watch the bracket. Yeah. Green Room. Loved it. Love it. I love the simplicity, the stripped down of it, the claustrophobia of it. I love the uniqueness of the premise. I love the uniqueness of this kind of like structure, or this fight where it's just like, yeah, like we know, like, obviously Nazis are bad, but what happens, and Nazis are usually pitted against people who are obviously like an Inglourious Basterds situation, against people who are obviously like their enemy. But what if Nazis are just against like some kind of like punk anarchist like band, you know, like things that you think they like, things that for the more like socially less discerning, like they're like, well, those kind of groups aren't that far off from each other, probably. Like those probably, like, you know, punk anarchists, they're all kind of like, you know, not, like I'm broadly generalizing here, but for them to be like, no, like, you know, you get these like punk anarchists and they're like, no, fuck Nazis. Or like they're like, no, like absolutely not. And then what if the Nazis are like, okay, well, we'll kill you now, and it was, and you realize how intensely and ferocious and bloody and gory a little mini turf war between these two kind of groups can be. Yeah, I was sucked into Green Room. Oh God, hand trauma in this movie, wrist trauma, blah. Like some searing, some pops of searing gore in this movie.
Some floppy meats.
Oh, screw you. Don't. Too soon. But yeah, I was really into it. Imogen Poots. I haven't said Imogen Poots' name enough, so I'm going to say it 4 more times. Imogen Poots. Imogen Poots. Imogen Poots. Imogen Poots. Just love saying her name, and she's talented alongside everybody else who's in this movie. And then over there, you got Toy Story 3, which until Toy Story 4 came out, which I like, but I don't love, but I solidly like. It's as strong as a fourth movie could be in like any franchise. But those first three Toy Stories are like the mecca. That's like the perfect. That's like the pristine. There's like Lord of the Rings, and then there's like the original Toy Story trilogy for me. It's just for me. But Toy Story 3 I think is a beautiful. I still respect Toy Story 4, but I think that the way that the perfect bookend of Toy Story 3 is just has this next level emotional maturity and perspective on life, all the metaphor, using all of this through freaking toys of all of these things to say all these lofty existential reaches about life, about death, about our own mortality, the way we reconcile with that, the way we relate to each other, the way we accept our old age, the way we accept our passing into lack of relevance. That has been one of the sterling benchmarks of the Toy Story franchise, and 3 bookends it and bow ties it just masterfully and beautifully. And it's not weighed out or diluted or anything by the fact that there's a 4th movie and now there will be a 5th movie. Toy Story 3 still stands strong and gorgeously, and I'm gonna vote for it over Green Room, even though I loved Green Room.
Okay. Adam?
I vote for Toy Story 4 because it doesn't get enough appreciation in this household. I'll tell you what, disclaimers.
You go through this every time. I like Toy Story 4. What are you fighting me on? I like it. I'm even saying I don't like it.
All right. Here's the thing I really love about Toy Story 3 and 4 together, and you got to grant me this, okay? 1 and 2 are of a piece, but 3 and 4 also are. And the reason why I say that is because 3 and 4 are about the toys reflecting the mortality of their owners more than they ever have before. The first 2 movies are really about how toys are just these immortal things that pass from generation to generation. And by the time we get to the 3rd one, they finally stress the mortality of the toys. Now, granted, we had Sid in the first movie. However, after Sid, like we didn't get as much. So when it came to the stuff in Toy Story 3 with them getting to the incinerator and all that, I mentioned this the first time we talked about Toy Story 3. That is borrowed from Brave Little Toaster, and that's okay because Disney owns both. And I've mentioned this last time too. An extremely goofy movie, and I'm mentioning this in a low decibel, so you'll be pleased. An extremely goofy movie is the framework for Monsters University. Look it up. But Green Room, I really dig this movie in what it sets out to do. It has such a unique approach to the material. It keeps it so contained and claustrophobic in the best way. I think I mentioned this last time too, and forgive me, but with Green Room, I sought out Jeremy's other movie, Blue Ruin, which, again, could have been discussed in this bracket, at least in the wild cards. But Blue Ruin is a great double feature with this movie. And they're both about a day going horribly wrong, and also, much like in Queen and Slim, just your life taking an ultimate turn with no sense of where it's going. And I love that aspect of Green Room. For you to put it up against Toy Story 3 is you know, it's just the thing that's annoying, Jacob, is you take movies that are really great, like in different corners of the bracket, and you make them cancel each other out way too early.
It's the
You know,
second round.
you're the second round, okay? and also, I vote for Toy Story 3. Fuck you. I say that with love, but I don't want. I want to keep talking about Green Room, but I also want to, like, I've been blabbing so much. We need to move on. Toy Story 3. Jesus.
That's the first one of
I
the
know,
night. First
I
one of the
know.
night.
You got one.
We got one.
Because I had to cut myself off, so I took it out on you.
I'm just I gonna be real quick with this one as well. You mentioned about the mortality. I think the thing that I love the most about Toy Story 3 is it does what most sequels aren't brave enough to do, and what most animated sequels never do, which is the second movie. The second movie, Toy Story 2, ends with Woody and Buzz, with Woody especially, making a choice. I am okay with dealing with Andy's mortality. That at some point in my life, Andy will no longer play with me. He makes that choice instead of going to Tokyo and the museum. Like Stinky Pete says that choice. Which one would you rather be forgotten or
I love how seriously you discuss the Toy Story antagonist.
No, I just love how seriously you
Stinky
said
Pete and Lobster Bear.
Pete.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But like he does say, which one would you rather be lost and forgotten or set in a museum and adored forever?
Right.
And what I love about Toy Story 3 is it's like, yep, 10 years later, we're going to deal with those consequences. Like we're actually going to show Woody, Buzz, and all of those living with that choice. And I love that. And I just, not enough sequels do that where they like, oh yeah, they instead revert to status quo. And this one actually goes, here are these characters living with that consequence. And it's also why I love 4, because 4 is the same thing. 4 is dealing with living with those consequences.
Jacob.
I love 4.
Yes.
So
You want a private stream? You want to
so yeah, look, I am also voting for Toy Story 3 because and it's going to be really, really tough in the next round what I'm voting for because I don't know yet.
Can we quickly appreciate the artistry of my cat's dinner before I feed it to them?
That's for the cats? I thought you were creating 2 bowls for yourself. I thought you were creating, like some lentil stew.
Send that to us.
Mara, that is, I've seen that on like menus at restaurants.
Yeah, they are spoiled little babies. So Jayla tonight, she has her Royal Canin indoor wet food, which she just eats. It's a regular one, but she also has her crab seafood bisque with a couple of ground up goat's milk cat treats and some sashimi on top, some dried sashimi. And then SP has his Royal Canin urinary SO moderate calorie prescription diet because he has a sensitive urethra. And then he has his pumpkin, his pureed pumpkin with the same treats and sashimi. And then they have their supplements. Jayla gets lysine, a hairball control, and then SP gets hairball control, and he gets some calming, a calming supplement because he's a grumpy asshole sometimes. So yeah, that's their dinner.
I'd like the record to reflect that I had a donut for dinner.
I was just going to say, we ate McDonald's last night.
The cats eat better than we do.
We did
100%.
nothing remotely near the level of care that you were taking care for these cats and their insides.
Well, after losing Muffin so spontaneously, I mean, we were taking really good care of her too, but we kind of went extra nuts after that. So yeah, they are so fucking spoiled.
All right.
Thank you for my TED Talk.
Bless you.
That is the end of round 2 for this bracket.
Just do it. Just
Next up. Paranorman versus The Hunger Games Catching Fire.
You know how this goes, yeah.
Taylor.
Catching fire. Catching fire, catching fire, catching fire.
Not even going to discuss it.
We've already discussed. I mean, I can rant about the Hunger Games if you really want me to. Like, I can go on a whole on a whole thing. I could go on a whole thing about Catching Fire. I mean, it's the way it's shot is amazing. I mean, it gets talked about a lot, but when she rises up into the arena and the fucking what's
The
it called?
IMAX.
The IMAX thingy
Mhm.
happens,
Aspect
the
ratio.
aspect ratio happens. Incredible stuff. Like, I think the arena for this one in particular is super cool and super upgraded from the first film. I think the tension that you get to explore with having it be previous victors that all get thrown in there is just such a cool element to take on. I think that the element, for especially for people who didn't read the books, I think the element of having there be factions in there without Katniss knowing anything about what's going on, and the reveal of it is handled really well in the film. Some of the best acting in the series. Yeah, I love Catching Fire. So
All right. Adam.
Look, I've waxed poetic on many matchups thus far, and I gave Hunger Games its due, as did I with Paranorman. And this time around, I'm going to say, by a slight margin, I'm going with Paranorman, with the caveat that Hunger Games, Catching Fire bent my ear for more than any of the other movies in that series, and really commanded my attention. So I want to give it credit for that. But Paranorman, I think, is special because in the modern age of animation, Leica stands apart for its commitment to stop motion alone. But again, Paranorman has the most heart of all their films. I really believe that, and it resonated with me, so I vote for it.
Yeah, I will also be voting for Paranorman. It is, again, it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite animated movies from this decade. I love what Leica do as a stop motion company. I just think all of their movies are just really special and unique and wholly original. So, like, even the ones that aren't great, like Box Trolls, I still think have different and uniqueness about them that we don't get enough in Hollywood. So yeah, I am going to go with Paranorman. Marisol?
I don't usually do this. I'm kind of spun around a little bit here, because I don't think I voted for Paranorman in the last thing it was up against, right? I didn't vote for it. I voted for Looper. Yeah, I voted for Looper against Paranorman. I definitely voted for Catching Fire against The Nice Guys. But now that Paranorman and Catching Fire are next to each other, this is weird how this bracket works out sometimes. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards Paranorman, as much as I like both of these movies a lot. Oh. Ooh. Who hasn't gone? Has Mara not gone yet? Mara's not gone. And it's no, you know what? Let me just do this. I think, based on comparing these two, I do like the uniqueness and the message, and I want to support Leica. I don't think we have any other Leica. Kubo went out already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't think we have any other Leica in here. And as much as I do really like Hunger Games, I know Hunger Games is going to be okay. I know it's going to be okay. I know the franchise is going to be okay. It's okay. Its reputation is going to be okay. People give Catching Fire its flowers. This is such a weird. This doesn't usually happen with me. I think I'm going to actually, now these two are against each other, I think I'm going to vote for the uniqueness of Paranorman actually here. Because I do think that, for all the reasons we said in the last round when we were talking about it, I do find myself, it's almost jaw-droppingly beautiful to just look at it. I do want to champion stop motion animation, and stop motion animation done this well, this beautifully and this well. I mean, not since, like, it would only be maybe surpassed and by Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I think really taking stop motion to the next level. But yeah, I'm actually gonna vote for Paranorman, because as sweet as it is, I would rewatch Catching Fire. I'm also gonna rewatch Paranorman.
Mhm.
I easily would. I love the character design and all of it. And Jacob, I'm hearing your voice in my head too. It is a really, really, it really is a wonderful movie for letting kids know it is okay to be different, and letting them know that they're like Matilda before it, like these kind of movies that work for every generation. These movies that letting you know that your little weirdness, your little kind of like slightly gothic tinged weirdness is what makes you special. I'm gonna vote for Paranorman.
Ma.
Okie dokie. Interesting. So I would say, not that this is affecting my decision, but I would say that, sad but true, neither one of these movies has a chance of winning this entire bracket, because I can think of at least one or two movies that if this went up against, it would lose. Again, not that that affects my decision, but yeah, no, it does. But I do agree though with what everyone.
Shit, it wouldn't take a minute.
I just mean, I also agree with what everyone else said though. I really want to. I do focus a lot of the time on like degree of difficulty and what something contributes to like the filmmaking canon. And I'm also going to vote for Paranorman in this case, because I would like to see it move further down. Again, sad but true, I don't think it's going to win the whole thing. And if it does, then I don't know, I'll do something stupid as penance. But
holding you to that.
Of course, not a problem. We can roll back the tape. 216. All right, 216, everybody. But no, everyone else said it very eloquently. But yeah, degree of difficulty, execution, keeping the medium alive, Paranorman in this case.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that, we say goodbye to Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Paranorman moves on.
If Paranorman wins this bracket, I'm never doing another bracket show ever. Not ever again.
That's fair.
It's not happening again, because rewarding Jacob in this way by sending Paranorman through is disgusting.
Look, I'm gonna riot against all of you if like MacGruber makes it through another round. So just keep that in mind too. All right, you guys have already opened up this can of worms. Okay, you did this to yourself.
All right. Well, yeah. With that, Paranorman is the first. It is the first one from this bracket that makes the final bracket. All right. Next up, we have Only the Brave versus Logan Lucky. I'm just going to start this one so that I can get away from all the collateral damage. I'm just going to go with Logan Lucky because, I haven't seen Only the Brave, but also I really love Logan Lucky. So,
can I go next?
Yep.
Oh, man, you stole my what I wanted to say.
Oh, see, no diminishing Only the Brave, but I went over it earlier. I really love Logan Lucky. I think it's very, very special. I'm going to vote for Logan Lucky.
Marisol?
Sometimes I'm not above peer pressure, so I'm gonna vote for Logan Lucky.
Even though I haven't even seen it. And that's a deciding vote.
Yeah, it might be a deciding vote. So
okay, well, what the hell is that? What do you want from me? What do you want? Or should I go last and then still say the same thing? Like, what is it?
No, you.
Like, what do you want me to do? Should I go last and change my answer based on like what?
She's got a point.
Yeah,
she's got a point. Like, it doesn't matter if she's gonna vote for that anyway.
Fair. No,
if she's gonna vote for that,
no, it just means I get to run Logan Lucky a second time.
All right.
Leave her alone, Jacob.
It's a testament to the compelling arguments you guys have all made about Logan Lucky. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, fair. No, fair enough. Sorry.
I also voted for Only the Brave because I really was impacted by Only the Brave. I don't know. Oh my god.
Jacob, you're a cyberbully.
I wasn't the one who brought it up. It was Adam.
I blame Jacob for everything.
Fair
I'm
enough.
problematic, but Jacob's worse.
Can I pull an Abigail
Oh.
Breslin? Can I be her in Signs where she's like, I changed my vote? Should I change my vote?
Stop crying.
Yeah, no. Should I change my vote? I mean, I can't be like, oh, my rule is to not vote for what I haven't seen. But I feel like it's too entrenched now. I mean, oh my God, 2 people voted for Logan Lucky, right? I'm gonna vote for Only the Brave. I'm gonna switch my vote.
You see what you guys did? You see what kind of chaos you guys caused here?
I'm gonna vote for Only the Brave. I gotta balance it out. Look,
Okay.
don't put it in my hands. Yeah, don't put it in my hands. If I
See
haven't
what
seen
you
it,
guys did?
Taylor.
No, you're not giving it to me.
All right, fair enough. Adam, you're next.
Well, now I feel bad. And
you should.
I am a piece of refuse. I know
you
this.
simultaneously
I know this,
cyber
yes.
and physically bullied me.
Yes, I attacked you, and I have to reckon with that.
You did.
And like I have spoken extensively about Only the Brave and Logan Lucky, and we have how much? What's the vote count right now? Sorry to be that guy, but
2-1.
Yeah, it's 2 Logan Luckies, 1 Only the Brave.
Okay. All right. Well, considering the fact that I will, make up for this somehow, I gotta say this: if you haven't seen Logan Lucky, watch Logan Lucky. It's a good movie. We talked about it already, but Only the Brave registered with me on a different level. So I have to vote for Only the Brave.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you're the deciding vote.
I blame both of you for this nonsense. It was decided. It was done. It was over.
They all chimed in and bullied me. Yes,
It
thank
was
you.
over.
Taylor, thank you. But also, I'm sorry.
I blame you for this.
Yeah, okay. I'll be the villain because that's my role on
That's
the show.
literally
anyway.
the whole point.
I know.
God, this is annoying. Because on the one hand, I want to champion Only the Brave because people talk about films that are underrated and underwatched, and Only the Brave is actually one of those films that I talk to a lot of people and they haven't seen it. So that sucks because I think it's a really great movie. And it's a really emotionally poignant movie. It really sticks with you. Logan Lucky is one that's just so fun, and then I just have such an easy time going back and rewatching. And the whole cast is just having a great time. So they're just 2 tonally completely different movies. Ugh. God. All right. I'm just gonna vote for Logan Lucky.
Wow. We say goodbye to Only the Brave, and Logan Lucky makes it through to the next round, and Taylor gets to torment me even more because
you deserve it. You deserve it. Fuck you.
Okay.
Oh, you hear that, Arizona?
Arizona's going through enough right now.
All right. Well, Queen and Slim versus Blind Spotting.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Oh, it gets better.
Yeah, I know.
Mara, I'm going to start with you.
What a comparison. Interesting. Unfair. I think the algorithm is racist.
No.
I mean, a computer programmed this, so I want to know who programmed the computer. Okay, I have to pick an arbitrary reason because these are both excellent movies that carry important messages. And oh, please don't throw up. Sorry.
She's talking to us.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Oh my god, that pillow is dope, by the way. I know that was a pillow.
Oh, this?
Yeah, I thought it was
Sleep
real.
pillow.
I thought you were sitting on it the whole time, and I was like, that's not comfortable. Anyways, I'm gonna pick an arbitrary reason because I think that they're both excellent movies that I could argue my way into one or the other, and we don't have time for that. I'm gonna pick the one with the cute guy in it. Well, I mean, they're both cute, but I'm gonna pick the one with the guy that sings "Puppy for Hanukkah."
Yeah.
I'm gonna go next.
All right.
I haven't seen Blind Spotting, so
Queen and
You
Slim.
Queen.
should,
But
though.
I
It's
love.
really,
But I do
really
love
good.
Queen. Like nothing
Yeah.
against Queen and Slim by me saying that. I
Yeah.
just haven't gotten around to Blind Spotting.
I'm gonna go with the Queen and Slim because that movie just hits me on such a different wavelength. So I'm just arbitrary reasons. I'm going Queen and Slim. Adam or Marisol, who would like to go first?
Mara said, "Wait, you said you were voting for one with the cute guy. Which one did you determine that one was?"
She
Oh,
picked
I
Blind Spotting.
picked David Diggs. I picked
Oh,
Blind
okay,
Spotting.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both cute, but I was like, I'm gonna go with the one that sang "Puppy for Hanukkah."
That's how I knew that when she said it was like I'm not picking one of these. I'm waiting, and then she said Puppy for Hanukkah. I was like, okay, that's the big dick.
And Taylor said Queen and Slim, and Jacob,
Yeah.
you said Blind Spotting.
No, I said
No,
Queen
he
and
said
Slim.
Queen.
Oh, you said Queen and Slim as well.
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't want to choose between these movies. I just this blows a whole bag of Richards.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Now we may ingest a satchel of Richards. That's what we.
We're
Yeah.
putting that on a shirt.
Ooh.
Come back next year. We may have merch.
Yeah, right.
I refuse to choose between these movies. I'm not gonna. No, I'm not
Productive.
gonna.
Thanks,
No.
man.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna look. I still haven't utilized. I've been threatening through a lot of this bracket to utilize my constitutional right to like RTV to refuse to vote. I've been threatening like a lot of this bracket, and I still haven't dropped it. But if I didn't do it last week, I don't think I'm ever gonna do it. But yeah. So I won't quite RTV. But I will say that I'm gonna force this into a 3-2 victor situation because I think that's what it deserves. So just by default, I am just gonna vote for Blind Spotting.
Good luck, Adam.
So
by
you're
default,
throwing Adam under the bus.
you damn right I am. I'm gonna let him choose. I'm gonna take this out of my black hand and put it into
the
his
hands of the
corner.
white guy.
All right, because I just like it. This deserves to be a 3-2. I don't want to lean it.
That's
into any
fair.
direction
No,
other than
that's
that.
fair.
I love both of these movies. I think they're both incredibly strong, and I think they're both so worth watching. And I think they're both of this decade. I think these are at the top of the pack of the examples of socio-political, politically relevant, topical, especially when it comes to race relations in regards to race relations with the police, with the kind of systematic racism that's happening in our present day. I think these are two of the absolute best films exploring that of the decade in American cinema. So, Blind Spotting. Both of these movies are incredible. Thanks, Uncle Rando. With your racist ass. Right.
Yeah. It depends wearing stupid ass.
And not just that, not just like what they breach on. I think these are also both examples of incredibly strong filmmaking. I don't know if these are both filmmaking debuts for both of the people who are making them. They're just also incredibly
One
made.
definitely
films.
is. I don't know if Blind Spotting is.
Yeah.
Queen
I got
Slim definitely is, and it's her only narrative feature so far.
Right. But these are incredibly strongly made films with unique lyrical visual voices.
Now, I just want to make this clear. Now, not to pick on anybody, not people, movies, but one of these, just saying, one of these could have gone against, say, She's Out of My League.
Oh my god,
Maybe
Not in round 3. It's round 3, dude. It's where it gets hard.
Mm.
There's
I don't know
64
what-
movies left.
I don't know what round it is, Jacob. None of it makes sense to me. You're an evil wizard who makes things up, and I don't know what round it is. But I'm telling you that I wish these could have gone against some other things because this is messed up. And yeah.
Wow, I just have to quickly say, yeah. So Carlos Lopez Estrada, who directed Blind Spotting, is also a music video director. Here's even another parallel between these two. He's also a music video director, and Blind Spotting was his directorial debut.
And remember how the Hate You Give was on the side of the bracket too? That was like you talked to Unc about
That
this.
was Klansman. That went up against Klansman.
Oh yeah. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
I want to talk to Unc. That's all I'm saying. Let's not belabor this. I'm going to vote for Queen and Slim. I'm not happy about this matchup, for the record. Okay.
Wow.
I can't get into why, because it's at the end of the day, it's kind of arbitrary. But they're both excellent. People should watch both of the movies.
All right. Well, with that, Queen and Slim moves on to the next round. Final matchup of the night. Black Klansman versus Toy Story 3.
All right, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go with Black Klansman. Don't like it. Don't like that I have to do it, but that's what I'm gonna do.
All right.
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Sorry.
No, never mind. Go ahead. Go, bro.
My thought, look, Toy Story 3 has been one of those movies this entire decade that has been one of my all-time favorites. Like, it's just one of those movies that I just adore and love so much. But when Adam was talking before about what's like, I'm going to bring up Black Klansman, because when Adam was talking about what a great, like, just counterpunch to Birth of a Nation this movie is, and it just reminded me like that scene when they're watching Birth of the Nation and we're getting Harry Belafonte's speech is so powerful and is so well done. Yeah, I'm with Taylor. I'm going to go Black Klansman. And it's one of those words where if I was last and Klansman had already gone through, I might have voted Toy Story. But right now, I'm going Klansman.
This will shock no one. I'm voting for Black Klansman. Again, part of it is the relevance of it all. I just find that this contributes more to society, and it's a little more important. But also, I actually feel like this movie accomplishes something for me emotionally, whereas Toy Story 3 does not, because I don't have a soul, at least as far as toys are concerned. But for human beings and the human condition, I absolutely do. Plus, fuck the KKK. So, yeah, Black Klansman.
Mm-hmm. Adam?
Yes. Black Klansman. Setting a new record. Okay. There you go. I said everything I need to say about Toy Story 3 earlier. Okay. I don't need to say it again. But Black Klansman, Queen and Slim, we can have another discussion. More cannibalization. That's fine. Uncle Rando. That's fine. But Black Klansman's excellent. And yes, I'm gonna reiterate the fact that like Spike won his Oscar for this. It's very nice, even if it was the year Green Book won. I think the fact that he won that same year speaks volumes. It's the antidote to Green Room winning in a way. So there you go.
All right, Marisol.
You guys seem to be forgetting now in this blacket that we've been doing. Toy Story 3 is the blackest movie there is. Okay, all right.
Lots of Lovin' Bear.
Yeah, Lotso Bear. That's straight off of Good Times. That bear, straight off of Good Times. But yeah, no. I'll be the one vote for Toy Story 3. Let's go Toy Story 3. All right.
I'm just gonna like the four white guys, the four white people voted for Black Klansman. we put them, we all put the pressure on her to be like, okay, you now vote for the white movie so that it doesn't get one vote.
Look, Toy Story 3 defies race. Toy Story 3, they're just toys, man. All right, they're all kind of toys, and at the end of the day, what does it say about me? Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, that I do get more moved by the existential overtones of Toy Story 3, and I'm gonna fight for it. But I stand by everything I said about Black Klansman. That is a return to form for Spike Lee, which he would then just get even stronger with in Defy Bloods a few years later. But yeah, Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3.
Well, with that,
I love you, Toy Story 3.
Does make it through. Here is the final two matchups for when we get to the final bracket. This is the movies that we have.
Ouch.
And
I gotta watch Logan Lucky. Shit. Okay. All right.
So that will be. They are when we get to the final bracket. They will be the two representatives from They will be the two matchups from the second bracket.
all right, what do we got next
All
week?
right, next week, guys.
I'm scared.
The Florida Project versus The Guest. Gone Girl versus What We Do in the Shadows. Your Name versus Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Spotlight versus Inception.
Oof.
Bad Times at the El Royale versus Fighting with My Family. A Quiet Place versus The Town. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl versus Creed. First Man versus 1970.
I hate it here.
Okay, next week is nasty.
Yeah,
I hate it here.
Like an easy week
Yeah,
for me.
guys, we don't have easy weeks.
I
We
hate
don't
it.
have any easy weeks.
I hate it
left.
here.
It's not okay.
We're
No.
getting we now get
It's just pain from now on.
tormenting everyone between now and when football starts.
Ugh.
Mara, where can people find you online?
I'm currently experiencing network difficulties as a human being.
That's fair. I can appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for joining us and spending your time with us tonight. Adam,
I'll be here next week.
Where can they find you online?
Letterboxd, Twitter, Marisol_Muriah, MARIAH. I also pop up. I think I said it last week. I'll say it again here. Melissa and Kelly invited me onto Film Coven. Check out their YouTube channel. We talked about kick-ass women in film. So I was on a panel discussing that. So you could check that out on their channel. And then, yeah, that's it.
Adam?
And then also check out Champs on Film for all of our archival footage.
Adam?
Yes. Champs on Film exists, and we will return to it presently. It is something we do when we have time. So thanks to those of you who still subscribe. Hang tight. Stuff is on the way. But yeah, check her out on everything she mentioned. Film Coven's very, very cool. And I think I am slated to appear on What the Show with Mike Deacon in the next few weeks to discuss films in the horror genre. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say what film, but genre. Just subscribe to his channel. They do great stuff. And Champs on Film, please. Thank you. Yes, we're this close to 500 subscribers. Come on, guys. Let's go.
You can find me on this channel doing this godforsaken bracket show.
God damn it.
Yeah. So there's that. I'm gonna start making a list of the quotable things that happen so we can have t-shirts next time we do this. I'm gonna send one to everyone and we're all gonna have a t-shirt of some kind with some of these just horrific quotes that are going around on this show. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be fun. Otherwise I'm just on Letterboxd watching movies and talking about movies.
Watching Twisters. For
Watching
the 10th time.
Twisters as many times as humanly possible.
She's got 5 more days before Deadpool and Wolverine
take all the good
take every
screens. So I've got to book all my tickets now and just go as many times as possible. Yeah, so if you want to see me talking about Twisters for the next 5 days, you can find me on Letterboxd at Finally Tailored. Twitter is also at Finally Tailored because I will never call it by that other name. It will always be Twitter. You all know what I'm talking about. So you can find me there. Just pretty much anywhere really. Tumblr, Instagram, just all the places basically. But yeah, then we don't really have anything going on at the moment outside of this show because life planning a wedding and is a lot of stuff. So, takes up our time.
It does, plus work.
Yeah.
You guys can find me pretty much everywhere at Jacob London. And we are back doing the football show with Chance Ellison on his channel at Notorious by Chance. So go experience last week where we went back in for we created flag football teams for the past 20 years of Olympics. So,
oh God.
Yeah. So and who would be on each Olympic flag football team for the USA. So so we went back and did that, which was an experience as someone who didn't really watch football for the last 20 years.
Those are the best kind of teams, though. Those are the real winners. Just vibes alone.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much. This one was the quote unquote easier one. So yeah.
Sure. God help us.
It's going to be fun over the next 6 more weeks before we get our final bracket. And until then, thank you so much. And we'll be back here next Sunday and watching everyone else cry.
Crying.
Bye.